Hello, pilgrims. Welcome to this corner of the internet where after you have traversed through all of the vast wasteland, perhaps you have stumbled across this video. Happy New Year to you, at least to those of you who are watching this close to the time that it is either being recorded and or posted on YouTube. Because we are still in the single digits in the month of January. And what better way to kick off the new year than reading the Psalms together? We have mentioned in videos past that the Psalter really is a rich treasure trove of emotions and hope and spirituality and music. So what a good place to enter into the scriptures, what a good place to hang out for a little while, what a good place to study and to enrich our souls. As you have already seen by the title of the video, I'm sure we are going to be in the 6th Psalm today, and the hope is to sort of read through a psalm a day, which really means a psalm of video. These don't get posted every day. But let's see what the 6th Psalm holds for us. For the leader, with stringed instruments, on Sheminith, a psalm of David. O Yahweh, don't rebuke me in your anger. Don't discipline me in the heat of your fury. Be gracious to me, O Yahweh, because I am withering away. Heal me, Yahweh, because my bones are shaking. I am completely terrified, and you, O Yahweh, how long? Come back, Yahweh, and rescue me. Save me for the sake of your grace. For in death, no one remembers you. In Sheol, who will praise you? I am worn out with groaning. All night I drench my bed with tears, flooding my couch till it swims. My vision is darkened with anger. It grows weak because of all my foes. Get away from me, all you workers of evil, for Yahweh has heard the sound of my weeping. Yahweh has heard my pleading. Yahweh will accept my prayer. All my enemies will be confounded, completely terrified. They will churn back and be suddenly put to shame. These are the true and poetic words of our eternal God. So we've talked a little bit about superscripts in videos past. By the way, if you would like to sit with any of the previous Psalms, there is a link in the description below, which you can go back and review. We know that this is also one of the Psalms that's meant to be sung. It's meant to be a song. We're told it's for the leader, probably the leader of worship or the musical leader, that there are supposed to be stringed instruments involved. And just a note on Sheminith, the fact that I have that word literally transliterated into the English means they don't know exactly what that word means. It's kind of lost in the ancient languages, not a word that was used in other contexts. So the best guess is this is a musical reference of some sort, but who knows what that is. And again, Psalm 6 is considered a Psalm of David, which may mean written by David, but at the very least is meant to invoke sort of the spirit of David, the setting of David. So when you think of David's life, some of these poems might make more sense. And once you have that context, might help us to enter into them as well. What does it mean that these things are supposed to be sung? What does it mean that these are part of worship? This is one of the first Psalms that we've encountered in the Psalter so far that is mostly negative. The psalmist is suffering and doesn't necessarily get relief by the conclusion of the psalm, which is interesting. These sort of holy poems do not have to have closure in them. They're still part of the sacred witness. They're still part of the way we experience life, and that's why I think they offer us so much help and so much hope. So in the beginning, the psalmist is pleading with God not to be or to feel rebuked by God in anger or to be disciplined by the fury of God. He asks God to be gracious to him because he feels like he's withering away. He needs healing. His bones are shaking. He's terrified. He needs God to come back and to rescue him for the sake of his grace. It's interesting to think that whether you are King David or whether you are someone who is trying to walk uprightly with God, we all go through moments in life where it feels like God just isn't there, and we're suffering, we're crying out, but we're not getting an answer. How does one reconcile that in your own mind? For the psalmists, it's like God is listening, God is distant. So they often plead with God, beg God to return, to offer a salvation that they have experienced in the past, but recognizing there are different complications to life. You don't always receive the same blessing. You don't always receive it in the same way. The path of life is often twisting and churning. It's not formulaic. So how do you stay in relationship with God? One of the things that the psalmist reminds God about is, save me for the sake of your grace, because in death, no one remembers you. In Sheol, in the place of the dead, who will praise you? This is a very ancient way of thinking that our God is the God of the living. We heard Jesus say this once. God is not the God of the dead. He's the God of the living. So he still is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because to God, they are still with him. They are still present. They are living in his presence. And in the ancient world, the conception of death is, how can you glorify God when you're in the grave? God takes delight in life. God takes delight in the teemingness and fullness and diversity and flourishing of life. So when that life is gone, when someone is silent and in the grave, how are they supposed to offer God praise? How are they supposed to bring him pleasure? There's this beautiful image in Psalm 6 about someone who is so in grief that they are drenching their bed with tears, flooding their couch till it swims. Their vision is darkened with anger and growing weak because of all of their foes. So again, you can see for David, this was both a physical external threat, that there really were people who pursued him and who wanted to do him physical harm, but also there were a lot of internal threats, people who said pleasing things to him, but they were lying and they were deceiving. Sometimes they said negative things about him behind his back. So what do we do when we experience such great adversity? And that's the conclusion of the psalm. He says, "Get away from me, all you workers of evil, for my God, Yahweh, has heard the sound of my weeping. He's heard my pleading. He will accept my prayer. And therefore all of my enemies will be confounded, completely terrified. They will churn back and suddenly be put to shame." All of those words with will in there, all of those sentences and phrases means it hasn't happened yet. In other words, the psalmist is holding out hope for what God will do in the future based upon what the psalmist knows about God in the present and in the past. I think we can get some hope for that as well. Whatever you go through in the new year, I pray that you are able to remember who God is, what God has done, and therefore, regardless of sort of the vacuum of this moment, that you might have hope and trust in what God will do for those of us who remain faithful to Him. May we ponder that, may we think about that, may we meditate on that a little bit more deeply as we consider our lives and consider our God. And until the next video, until the next psalm, may the peace of God be with you. Amen.